This is WNEP's Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. Join us for streamside adventures, days in the field with new and old friends. It's all about making memories and following traditions, and exciting hunting experiences with interesting people. We've captured the beauty and majesty of the great outdoors, and it's all next on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life.
Hello everyone and welcome to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I'm Don Jacobs. I'm sitting in a Gamelands parking lot in Northumberland County. I'm going to tell you why. I'm also going to get you excited about the upcoming deer season. Next weekend, the first weekend of archery season. Super pumped about that as well. But we're all concerned and we're all learning more as we go along with CWD. Joining me now is Andrea Corman. Andrea, what is your position with the Pennsylvania Game Commission?
So I am the CWD section supervisor.
Can we call you a spokesperson for them as far as CWD?
Sure.
So, you know, we always say this, our viewing audience always sucks in as much as we can put out there, but there are new people that may not know what CWD is. So what is CWD?
Well, starting with kind of the very basics of the disease, it is a prion disease. So that means it's caused by a misfolded protein, not a bacteria, not a virus. It's a protein that is found naturally in the body. But what happens is nobody knows why or how, but it becomes misfolded. And when it does this, it becomes infectious. So once it gets into the animal's body, it then binds with all those normal proteins that are in there and causes them to convert to that misfolded shape. And they accumulate in all the nervous system tissues. They start to form plaques and ends up with neural cell death. And I'm sure you know you can't really live without your brain.
Right.
So as that starts to deteriorate, the animal will ultimately die. So
Right.
CWD is always fatal. So there's actually, unfortunately, a lot of ways that that can happen. It seems to be there can be direct animal-to-animal contact, so they can do it through saliva, urine, feces, but at the same time, they can also get it through environmental contamination. So the same with the urine and feces, if it gets in the soil, it can last there for years, and they can pick it up that way as well.
So we know it's out there, right? And how do you know it's out there?
So we have been testing since 1998. We have tested at this point almost 120,000 deer and about 1,700 elk. And we do, it's called an ELISA test, so enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, and also IHC, which is immunohistochemistry. And what we do is for deer, we take the lymph nodes, and that's how they get tested. And with elk, we actually take the obex. For some reason, it shows up first in two different tissues in those animals, but we send them through all of those testings.
Mainly the venison species, is that who this is affecting at this point?
Yes, so all of the cervid species, anything in the deer family. So in Pennsylvania, we really just have the white-tailed deer and elk. But in other states, it's also mule deer, moose, reindeer, all that kind of stuff.
All right, so now we've sort of established that it is out there, it's here, right? And we know sort of how it's transmitted from deer to deer. Are there pockets of it that we know of in Pennsylvania? And if so, how is the Game Commission treating those little pockets?
So our biggest or most infected pocket, if you will, is what we call the established area. So that is in Blair, Bedford, Fulton County area. And in terms of the severity of the disease there, if we look at adult hunter-harvested deer, we are around 20%. So 1 in 5 hunter-harvested deer from that area are coming back with CWD. The rest of that disease management area, what we call a DMA, expands pretty far, all the way west to Westmoreland County, Somerset County, and east all the way to the river, crossing over into Northumberland a little bit, and pretty far north, almost to State College at this point, is all disease management area too. And in terms of wild deer, we have another small pocket in the Jefferson County area, which is considered DMA 3.
So we're attacking this now. You're finding it. You're finding out where it is, either in a facility or in a wild herd. And now, why are we sitting here in Northumberland County? Sad to say, you've added another DMA, right?
Yes. So we are up to DMA 7. Fortunately, DMA 1 was dissolved, so we only have 6 active DMAs. But here we had a detection at a captive facility that was in Lycoming County. When we create a DMA, we go about 10 miles out from that detection, so this DMA encompasses multiple counties.
Yeah, as your news release said, Lycoming, Northumberland, Montour, Sullivan, they're all part of this now.
Yes.
All right. What does that mean to the hunter? So that's pretty much, okay, so you know all the medical ends and all the science end of it. Johnny's six-pack, getting his bow and arrow ready for next Sunday, how does that affect him?
So there are, unfortunately, some additional regulations that are in place so that we can limit the human-assisted spread of the disease. We treat any detection like it's in the wild because we don't know if that deer or any deer at that facility could have potentially gotten out and infected the wild population. So what's in place is basically a ban on exporting high-risk parts. So that's where those infectious prions accumulate the most. Mostly the spinal column, the brain, the spleen, all have to stay in the DMA. You can no longer feed deer within a DMA, and you cannot use natural urine-based attractants. We don't want to cause increased, basically congregation or attraction of deer, so that they're increasing transmission of the disease. So we have these regulations in place.
And what about if I take it to a taxidermist or a butcher? That whole idea changes a little bit too, doesn't it?
It does. So you can still take it to anybody that's in the DMA. We then have a list of cooperators that agree to dispose of those parts properly, that some of them can be within about 5 miles outside the DMA. Otherwise, you would have to basically quarter your deer if you want to take it to someone outside those boundaries.
So there are changes. There are changes if you're a sportsman, there's changes if you're a taxidermist, if you're a butcher, and there's a lot more to learn about CWD. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Andrew's going to join us for a few more questions.